they'd repeat with voices soft and sweet. Alles Bays, Gimmel, Dalet, Hey. Aleph Bays, Gimmel, Dalet, Hey. Aleph Bays, Gimmel, Dalet, Hey.
I'm Peter Anthony Holder. I'm just one of the talkers here on TrueTalkRadio.com, the only place to be.
To the Howie Silbiger Show on the True Talk Radio Network. Get in on the conversation. Call 1-877-669-1292.
And welcome to the Howie Silbiger Show right here on the True Talk Radio Network. My name is Howie Silbiger. Number to call to get in on the conversation, 1-877-669-1292. That's 1-877-669-1292. We're into another week of isolation, another week of sitting at home and doing nothing, another week of trying to survive the coronavirus. Now, there have been a lot more cases of corona. There's a lot more testing, so there's a lot more cases. And a lot more orders to stay home. A lot more orders to not spread the virus, to stay in your house, and to order in your food, and to try to minimize your contact with other people. And I think that's a great idea. I think that's something that we should all strive to do at this point in the epidemic. We should try to stay away from other people. Try to stay home as much as possible. And let's see if we could kill this virus by not spreading it. The only way to do that is to not have human contact. So doing our best, doing our part is important. Doesn't mean you can't go for a walk. Doesn't mean you can't go onto your porch. Just stay away from other people. Don't spread the virus if you have it. Don't spread the virus if you potentially have it. And don't get the virus from somebody else who may potentially have it. It's simple. It's simple and easy. This means that you don't do like those idiots in New York did, and you don't have a minion, you don't have a quorum of men praying in front of a synagogue. This means that you stay away from other people. Now, I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand this. I don't get what the resistance here is. People are dying from this disease. People are dying. They're dying. It's not that they're getting sick and then they're recovering. There are people dying from this disease. So I'm not sure what the resistance here is. I'm not sure why people are fighting this isolation. Is it hard to stay at home? I don't know. I kind of like my house, and I don't mind staying at home. It doesn't bother me to stay at home. So, is there a problem with me staying at home? Absolutely not. I kind of enjoy my home. Parents are complaining that their kids are home. Well, you should be enjoying the company of your children. If not, you shouldn't have had children. That's a different story for a different discussion for a different day. So what is the issue? I'm still trying to understand how people can't understand that this virus is contagious, and it's contagious. It's a contact virus, which means you have to be in close proximity to somebody else who has the virus in order to get it. So staying away from people will prevent you from having the virus, from getting the virus. It's not crazy science here. It's not rocket science. So we already started to get messages on Facebook. So you can message me on Facebook. You can message me on Twitter. You can message me on YouTube. Okay, thought you were going on at 8. I decided to go on a half hour earlier because I wanted to vent a little bit because this is really starting to tick me off. And people are idiots. Yes, they are. Yes, they are idiots. People are idiots. Anybody who's getting together in large groups now to pray or to do other stuff are idiots. There has been enough information put out, enough time has lapsed since this whole thing started, that there's enough information out there that people should know that you don't do these things. People are idiots. Fanny, you're 100% right. That was a message off Facebook. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can feel free to call in. 1-877-669-1292. It's 1-877-669-1292. We'll be on till 9 o'clock. So we're going to be on from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. Sheldon Eric Freed, my long-suffering producer, will be joining me just after 8 o'clock, right here on the Howie Silbiger Show. Of course, you can hear the show every Sunday night. We've been on pretty much almost all week since this epidemic has started. You can listen to us if you can't get to Facebook or Twitter or to YouTube. If you can't get to these places and you still want to hear the show, you could download the True Talk Radio Network app off your favorite app store, and you could listen to all the programming on True Talk Radio. You go to the True Talk Radio website, and the show is streamed there, both audio version and audio and video version. So you have the option of both, and of course you could buy a carrier pigeon, and I could send you a message. But that's not overly practical. It is a desecration of God's name when Orthodox Jews get out and defy orders of the government, defy orders of the rabbi, and they go and they pray. That's a definition. It's a desecration of God's name. It's not helpful. It is not going to save lives. And the whole goal here is to save lives, as many lives as possible. So when I saw this gathering in New York, my blood started to boil, because all month, for a full month, for 3 weeks since we started this epidemic, I have been saying that Orthodox Jews are responsible people, that Orthodox Jews don't go out and if we're told not to, we don't do it. And I've been applauding the rabbis who have come out and said, and the majority of rabbis, by the way, around the world, have come out and said, don't hold quorums, don't hold minyanim, don't have 10 people gathered to pray. It is too dangerous. Stay alone, pray by yourself. I've been applauding people who have come out onto their porches, like the people of Outremont this past week, when they come out onto their porches and they all stand on their individual porches, 50 feet away from each other, 30 feet away from each other, meters and meters and meters away from each other if you want to go metric. And they stand on their porches and they're praying together, but they're not standing together. That I applaud. Ingenious ways to interact, ingenious ways to find a way to do things without jeopardizing somebody's life. Now, there are still people out there who argue with me who are saying, Howie, how is this jeopardizing people's lives? What are you, crazy? It's just like the flu. There are thousands and thousands of people who have died from this disease. Thousands of them. Don't tell me it's just like the flu. Thousands of people die from the flu too. But this is much more contagious than the flu. And it's spreading much quicker. So just be careful. That's it. When you go for a walk, don't stand more than 2 feet, not more than 2 arms length from a person. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. We're not talking macrochemistry here. Yet some people just don't understand. They just don't get it. I don't get those people. I don't understand those people. And then you have the other group of people. So you have that group of people. Then you have a whole nother group of people who just want to be political. And they just want to make political points. And it doesn't matter if people are dying. It doesn't matter if it's a pandemic, an epidemic. It doesn't matter what's going on. If there's an opportunity to smash the president of the United States, they go ahead and they smash the president of the United States. That's all they want. That's all they're interested in. And that's fine. It's a good distraction. People have to keep distracted. You're sitting at home. Most of us aren't working. We're sitting at home and we're twiddling our thumbs. So you got to stay distracted a little bit. So I guess smashing the president and making political points is a way to do that. I put up an article just yesterday, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, with a timeline. President Trump had put out a timeline on his response to the COVID-19 to the coronavirus problem, and I put out the article as a response to people saying the president didn't do anything. Oh, the president, and he did plenty. And the article I put up on my Facebook. So if you want to find it, go back and look on my Facebook. And the reaction I've gotten from that article has been slightly disturbing. Like honestly. One person posted up a meme on his Facebook. It was kind of a back and forth response between me and him. And he posted up a meme encouraging people who support the President of the United States to jump off buildings. This was the meme. It was like, President Trump supporters jump off a building. Everyone should jump. And I'm thinking, what a sick mind to say that somebody who disagrees with you politically should die. How sick are you? How sick are people? I know cabin fever has set in. A lot of people are just horrific. They're sitting at home in this horrific situation. But how sick is it that your brain goes all the way to anybody who disagrees with me politically has to die? Has to die? Advocating the death of people who disagree with you politically? Okay, if you don't want to read what I have to say, that's fine. Block me. Stop my messages from showing up on your Facebook feed. Block my email address. Whatever you have to do. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, don't turn on my radio show. Don't click on the play button. That's fine. I have no issue with that at all. Nothing. None. But to wish me death because you disagree with me politically? To wish the President of the United States death because you disagree with him politically? What kind of sick mind do you have to be able to do that? And I look at this stuff, and I read this stuff, and I read everything. Anything that pops up, any articles that pop up, any articles that appear on these websites, these news websites, I read everything. Right wing, left wing, it doesn't matter. I read it all. Because, it's the only way to stay informed. It's the only way to know what's going on is if you read both sides, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? So I watch Fox News and I watch CNN. So I was sitting with my brother the other day and we were watching Fox News. Just for the president was speaking on. He had an interview on Hannity on Fox. So we watched the interview with the president of the United States. And then right after the president finished speaking, we flipped it over to CNN. Now, during the Hannity interview, it was interesting. Hannity was very upbeat, and he was like, yes, we are going to defeat this virus. And hopefully, him and the president were talking. We're going to defeat this virus, and hopefully by the end of May or the end of April, we'll be able to start opening things again and start getting people back at work. And they were very positive and very upbeat. And then I flipped over to CNN. And CNN was the exact opposite. It was amazing. Chris Como, one of the hosts of CNN, came on, and the first thing he said was, we just heard the president say that he wanted to open up the country again by the end of April, and that is going to be impossible. People are still dying, and the president is crazy for even saying this. And then he went on, and he said, all right, let's go to our reporter on the street or whatever. And they went to this reporter who showed a hospital, and then the camera panned over from the hospital and showed a refrigerated truck standing in the back of the hospital. And the voiceover, the reporter doing the voiceover said, in this truck, the hospital is putting the bodies of people who died from COVID-19. Too many to store in the hospital morgue. And I'm sitting there and watching this. And then they move off to a panel discussion. In the panel discussion, everybody's talking gloom and doom. We're all going to die. This is going to kill us all. And I'm thinking, wow, if this is what the lefties are watching, if this is what the left is spewing on their networks, no wonder there is a mass panic in the world. Now I understand why people, I've been saying for weeks, I don't understand why people are running out and buying toilet paper, why people are running out and stocking up and hoarding food. But watching just 10 minutes of CNN, I couldn't watch more than 10 minutes of this. It was so depressing. But watching 10 minutes of CNN, I finally understood where the panic is coming from and why people are lining up and beating each other up over a roll of toilet paper. It makes sense to me now. The doom and gloom that these networks are promoting, the horrific graphics that they're showing, the way they're framing things, I would be nervous too. If that's all I watched, if I didn't get perspective and watch different networks and understand the different sides of the issue, which I do, and if I only watched that particular network, which many, many people do, I would never turn on Fox News, I would never turn on anything but CNN, those people, then they're scared out of their minds. And I don't blame them. I'd be scared out of my mind too if that's all I was watching. It was scary. I watched for 10 minutes, and I couldn't watch anymore. I was scared. It was scary. Now, who's telling the truth? Are the optimistic guys on one side? The guys who said, hey, look, this is it's an epidemic, it's a pandemic, it'll pass, we'll survive it? Are these the guys that I should believe, or should I believe the gloom and doom guys? The guys who are saying, there is a truck in the back of the hospital loading up bodies that don't fit into the hospital morgue. Which side do I believe? Is it gloom and doom, or is it optimism? Is the cup half full or half empty? And this is the dilemma that people are having when it comes to this coronavirus. They don't know who to believe. And I'm telling you, I listened to these guys on CNN, and if I didn't watch other networks, if I didn't read as much as I've read on this virus, if I didn't read as much as I have, I would be scared out of my mind too. 1-877-669-1292 is the number to call. 1-877-669-1292. I'm Howie Silbiger. This is the Howie Silbiger Show. We're heard live right here on the True Talk Radio Network. Feel free to call in 1-877-669-1292. We'll be back right after this.
She writes, at first I was afraid, I was petrified, kept thinking I would have no time, no matter how I tried. I'd never make those Seder nights, everything was going wrong, but I grew strong, and I learned how to move along. My smile was back on my face. I got a cleaning crew to come to me and straighten up the place, and So that energetic trio went from room to room with me, till every corner of my house was absolutely hummus free. But then I froze, I got the news. He invited all the in-laws and I almost blew a fuse. I don't know how to use a pot, I couldn't cook to save my life. If they're expecting to be fed, he better find another wife. But now I know I'll be alright, so long as I got cash. We'll have a Seder Pesach night. I got a number from the book, I hired 2 people who can cook. So I'll survive, I will survive. Hey, hey. It took all the strength I had not to fall apart. When I saw those empty closets, it just broke my heart. I just spent so many nights arranging Pesach all alone, and I forgot about the clothing. I almost ran away from home, but you'll see me, somebody new. I'm not that workaholic person who's as tired as you. I just grabbed all of your credit cards and drove to Bloomingdale's, and they thanked Hashem for Pesach as they rang up all the sales. And now I know just how it's done. I can handle any holiday, and so can anyone. You could have guessed who want to move in 47 at a time. You'd think I'd crumble, but everything will be just fine, 'cause now I know I'll be alright. So long as I can spend the cash, there'll be a Yom Tov night. I will handle any guest dressed up in our Yom Tov best. So I'll survive, I will survive. Oh, 'cause now I know I'll be alright. So long as I can spend the cash, there'll be a Yom Tov night. I will handle any guest dressed up in my Yom Tov vest. So I'll survive, I will survive. Now I know I'll be alright. So long as I got cash, we'll have a Seder Pesach night.
You're listening to the Howie Silbiger Show on the True Talk Radio Network. Talk to Howie. Call 1-877-669-1292.
And welcome back to the Howie Silbiger Show right here on the True Talk Radio Network. Number to call once again, 1-877-669-1292. That's 1-877-669-1292. Feel free to call in and share your opinions, share your thoughts. On this third week of quarantine, as we enter the third week of being self-isolated, being quarantined, it is getting interesting. It is really getting interesting. The city I live in is a hot zone for the coronavirus. So much so that they've built a coronavirus quick testing site in the local shopping mall, like in the parking lot of the local shopping mall. So of course they closed the grocery store in the local shopping mall, the grocery store that supplies the majority of the community with Passover food. That has been closed. And forget about Passover food, just regular food. People buy food from there all the time. And the supermarket said, don't worry, we'll deliver it to you. Just email us and we'll call you, you'll take your order. I can only imagine they could only handle a certain amount of volume in deliveries. I mean, you can't have 500 delivery trucks out there. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure if I called them to order, and I might do it tomorrow, I might email them tomorrow, just to see how long it will take. Because I guarantee it's not going to be a quick delivery. I won't have it the same day. So if I'm an older person or I'm somebody who needs food, this is going to be a problem in this community. 1-877-669-1292 is the number to call. Get in on the conversation. 1-877-669-1292. How are you holding up? How are you holding up in this quarantine? Like I mentioned before, it doesn't bother me all that much. I happen to like my house. I happen to I'm a social person, but really I don't mind staying at home and being by myself. Doesn't bother me all that much. I live alone, so I mean everything around me is mine, and I'm happy with my stuff. I bought my stuff. I carefully chose what I bought, so I'm happy with my stuff. I like my stuff. How are you? How are you coping? I know people with kids. I've spoken to a lot of people with kids, and they're complaining that their kids are home all day. And I said, look, if I had kids, I would never complain that they were home all day. I'd be happy to have them home. I'd be thrilled. I'd be playing with them all day. If I had nothing else to do, I would be playing with them. So why people have kids who don't care or who don't like their kids? It's a foreign concept to me. That's all I'm saying. I'm not judging people. I'm just saying it's a foreign concept. And of course, I got a Facebook message, Howie, don't judge people. I'm not judging people. It's a foreign concept to me how people could be upset that their kids are home. But I want to hear from you. How are you coping? How are you handling it? What are you doing to pass the time? 1-877-669-1292. That's 1-877-669-1292. I'm not going to bother with the latest updates because, I mean, the latest updates are only death counts. They're never going to tell you that 81,000 people across the world, around the world, have recovered from the virus. No one's going to tell you that. Over 81,000 people, but nobody's going to say that. They're just going to tell you about the 4 people who died in Rochester, or the 6 people who died in Crown Heights. But nobody's going to talk about the 81,000 people around the world who survived, who had the virus and survived it, because that doesn't sell newspapers. Because that doesn't get eyes onto television shows, and that doesn't get ears onto radio shows, and that doesn't spark people to go out and panic buy, and it doesn't cause enough fuss. So nobody's going to tell you about the survivors. They're only going to tell you about the people who died and try to rile it up by telling you people in your neighborhood died, which is true. So no, they're not lying to you. Nobody's lying about this, but it just seems odd that the focus is always on death and never on, hey, 500 people survived the virus today. 600 people survived. They recovered. Why don't we have a recovery count? Somebody should be offering a recovery count on the virus. 1-877-669-1292. Somebody should be offering a recovery count. Should be a website talking about how many people recovered. Only good news about the virus. There's plenty of bad news out there, and bad news you could always find. But what about the good stuff? What about the thousands of people who are out there buying groceries and medication and running around helping people who are afraid to go out or who can't go out? What about those people? Nobody talks about them. What about the people who spend their time on the phones calling people who are stuck at home, who live alone, are stuck at home, and offering to help them or offering to keep them company by phone? I know one of my friends whose husband died a few years ago. She posted that she was lonely on Facebook, and then suddenly a neighbor showed up on the patio next door, and they stood on the patio. She said there were a patio and a driveway apart from each other, and they stood there and they spoke for a half hour, all because she posted on Facebook that she was lonely. We never hear about these people. These are not people we talk about. And why? Beats me. Why do we always focus on the negative and never focus on the positive? I don't know. I discussed this on a previous show, and I told the story that one day. Well, you know what? We get Sheldon on. Sheldon was there for. I think Sheldon was there when we did this. We're gonna call Sheldon now. We're gonna see if we get Sheldon onto the show. And when Sheldon picks up, if he picks up, I'm going to ask him if he was there. I don't remember if he was there for that show, but we're going to ask Sheldon. He just picked up, so let's put him on the air right away. Hi, Sheldon. Hi, Sheldon. Hi, Sheldon. Hi, Sheldon. Oh, wait. That was the wrong button. Psychedelic was the wrong button. Hi, Sheldon.
I was hearing an echo.
That was a little psychedelic, but I pushed the wrong button. I do that occasionally, Sheldon. Occasionally, I push the wrong button.
How are you?
I'm surviving. How are you?
Not too bad. You can hear me loud and clear?
I hear you loud and clear and clear and loud and clear and all that stuff.
Excellent. You'll have to excuse me, everyone, because I'm still trying to get over this asthma flare-up that I had a couple of weeks ago, and So hopefully it'll sound. I'm going to sound copacetic, I suppose. What did you want to ask me?
So Sheldon, I did a show when we were still at the other radio station at Radio Shalom. I did a show where we were talking only about good stories. And we did that. We did that for a week. Were you there for that? I don't remember if you were there yet.
I don't remember because I think I got there at October of 2013 at Radio Shalom on your show when you asked me to be a part of it. So if it was anything from October onwards, yes. If it was October before, no, or before October of 2013.
I don't remember when the last time when I did that show. But what we did was we asked we were looking at good news stories. We said, we're always focusing on a negative. Let's focus on a positive. And so
Some idea.
So we were looking at good news stories, and at the time we were on AM, and we got a lot of calls. I mean, a lot of calls all the time, and so I said, let's look at the good news stories, and I don't remember who was on with me. I thought it was you, but it probably not. And I bet the person who was on the air with me, I said to them, I bet you that we're not going to get as many calls. And he said to me, "You're crazy." And I said, No. You're going to see. You're going to see that we're going to do this, and we're not going to get as many calls as we usually get, because good news stories don't get calls. Nobody cares about the good news story.
And that's too bad, isn't it?
And he bet me, and then I was right. Nobody cared about the good news story.
That's awful.
And it was awful. It really was. It was terrible. And I was like, what? What do you mean nobody cares about the good news story? Why wouldn't people call in for good news? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. We're so we're so bombarded with bad news, especially now what's been going on.
And that's what I'm saying. And so, I mean, if you could offer some good news, like I was just saying that if we take a look at the reporting for the coronavirus, and if we look at the reporting, we see that all they're talking about is this many deaths and that many deaths. Nobody's talking about the 81,000 people who survived this.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, why not? Why are we talking about the 80,000 people who survived the virus? Why are we only talking about the people who died from the virus? Why is that the news? Why isn't the news the people who survived the virus? 13,000 people survived the virus yesterday. Let's say as a number, just pulling a number off a random number off the top of my head. If 13,000 people have survived the virus yesterday, why aren't we talking about that?
Yeah, you're right. And they should. And that's why I was always, I know media has a duty to do, but also to balance as well as not only them conveying the bad news, but also trying to put the best spin possible for good news.
Yeah, seriously.
And especially things like this, like the coronavirus, the people that survived.
And seriously, nobody's talking about the people who survived. I mean, I've seen a few articles about survivors and survivors talking about what it was like to have the virus, but nobody's really saying that this many people survived, and that's really a shame.
And I think also a little piece of good news, which media really hasn't reported on, and maybe this might or may not make sense.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, and I'm saying the most, I'm never going to say all because you're always going to get opinions differing. But for the most side, people have put away partisan politics.
I disagree.
I disagree. I'm saying, like this is, I'm saying again, most people. I'm not going to say all because obviously I would be wrong on that.
You are wrong.
But for the most people, regardless of which side of the spectrum you are, what your political views are, I feel that the political leaders are doing a great job. They are giving the information available. And you know what? For the most part, conservatives, liberals, NDP here in this country has been pretty much on side. They've because basically when it comes to people's safety, it doesn't make a darn difference which side your political views are. You're talking about a human life, the life of you, your family, and your loved ones. And that's a piece of good news that everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants whatever the governments are able to do. Because this is completely extraordinary. This has never happened before in our lifetimes. And for once, most people are on side and most people want and appreciate whatever the government is able to do. And whatever, they're doing press conferences every day of the week to inform us and to let us all know what the situation is. Yes, they should spin some more good news in it as well, and that's also the media's role.
Yeah.
But also to put everybody on side, and for the people that are doing partisan politics, and I don't care which side, I don't care if you're the left or the right, I don't care. To me, it's about us all being safe. And actually, I was going to do a Centerpoint viewpoint on this.
Sure, you can.
That I
if you
think
want.
it's about time now that people are now, let's say 80 to 85% are on the same side. We want whatever the government is able to do to get us all better. There's many people that have lost their jobs. People's lives are upside down. People are not going out, or most people are hearing. The thing that really gets my goat are the people that are not listening. Most people are listening. Most people, like when I've been going around a walk in my neck of the woods, where where I live, I see very few people on the sidewalk, and I don't see more than 2 people at a time together. I go through the parks, the playgrounds are cordoned off with the kids, and I see parents with kids. They're respecting to make sure that they don't go on the slides. They don't go onto any of the playground areas and facilities. They're with their kids. They're keeping apart. Social distancing is being well respected in my neck of the woods. And I think people have to listen. Now, I was seeing too, Howie, when hearing stories about a week. As a matter of fact, my girlfriend and I, and this is the first time I was back since I was away, I was in Aruba on the March break, and I got back just in the nick of time.
Yeah, you're like the last. You're one of the last planes in.
Well, it wasn't the last planes in, but the thing was, there was nothing at the airports in terms of any specific notices of any kind, either in Aruba, at Pearson, or here in Montreal, about any warning for the coronavirus. I mean, there was, but my girlfriend and I, we made sure we had sanitizers on the plane. We made sure that we really, all the trays, the seat belts, the armrest, everything, even when we came back from the washroom, even when we unloaded our suitcase, we made sure we washed it, like we sanitized it and everything like that. So we were very, very prudent and made sure that we were safe as soon as we bypassed security. And even with the security, there was no screening. There was no questionnaire except when we back into Canada.
It was way before they started doing this.
Yeah, exactly. But there was only one extra question, actually 2 extra questions when we came back through Canadian Customs, which was actually done electronically at Pearson. And that was the following: if we came back from either China or any Asian country.
Yeah. And
number 2, if there was any cannabis. If we were carrying any cannabis with us. Those were the only extra 2 questions, other than, and it was all electronic. It was all, you put your passport in the scanner.
Right.
We were not questioned by any human beings, any authorities at all. And there was very few people. I think there was one person wearing a mask on the plane, going there and coming back from Toronto and Aruba, because we had to go through Pearson to go to Aruba because there was no nonstop.
The experts are saying that wearing those masks is totally useless.
Yeah, exactly. And but right away people start panicking, right? So it's the same thing when there was a hoard on bathroom tissues and a hoard of hand sanitizers, like people were hoarding and everything.
But you came back before people started hoarding, so
yeah, exactly.
You were back a week before that.
Yeah, we really got back really in the nick of time. I know I was on the phone with my mother since we arrived in Pearson, since we arrived in Aruba, because she was really worried because the news started going on about the coronavirus, but obviously was not the way it is now. The only thing that we saw in our hotel lobby in Aruba, we had like an open air hotel lobby, and they had it piped into CNN, and we were watching
scare tactics of CNN.
Yes, so we were watching the situation with a tornado in Tennessee, and I happen to have a cousin that's originally from New York that moved down to near the Nashville, Tennessee area, but it's not on the city of Nashville, is out really in the burbs, and thankfully his house was not destroyed, which really scared the heck out of me. There was some information about coronavirus in the United States, but that was the only thing they were getting in the lobby was CNN.
I saw reports about coronavirus at the beginning of January. At the end of December, beginning of January. There were already reports of corona coming in. So I mean, this should not be surprised. Nobody should be surprised by this. All right,
But
so
it wasn't
we
like
got a
any-
call. We got a call. Let's go to
Yep.
the phones. Let's go to the phones. Hi, who's this? Hey, Randy, how are you? Good, thanks. Could you just turn your radio down on the other side? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, okay, cool. Yes. There's a buffer.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
So how are you holding up, Randy? What are you guys doing to hold up here? Well, they closed Cavendish Mall last week, but the IGA they closed today.
Yeah, I figured as much.
I'm assuming it's because they have a testing center right behind it, and they don't want people who are going to the testing center coming to shop afterwards. The staff has to watch out for their safety too. Well, yeah, because staff isn't. Because my guess is that staff isn't showing up to work. People are afraid to work. They're afraid to work in public places. I mean, I was offered a job last week for 2 weeks up until Pesach. I was offered a job at a hospital, right, in the kitchen at a hospital, and I was like, "Are you crazy? I'm not going to work at a hospital. That's insane. No way." Yeah, slightly. I said, "There's no way I'm taking that job." And they were like surprised. They're like, "What do you mean you're going to say no?" I was like, well, "Why would I go there?" I mean, I know people in the hospitals have to eat, and you know people have to work in these hospitals, but I mean, I'm not crazy, right? I haven't lost my mind yet. Yeah. No, it's not about money, Randy. It has nothing to do with money. It definitely has to do with sanity. Definitely. Right. Well, that happens. Yeah, my school doesn't have online classes either. I've been sitting at home thinking that, if we come back at the end of May, there's no government, there's no exams. So, I mean, like, what am I going to do with them for a month? Right? This is what I'm thinking. I mean, whatever curriculum I had prepared, forget about it. It's out the window. And I come back, I have 3 grades, 3 courses per grade. What am I going to do for those 9 courses? I mean, I have no idea. Yeah, seriously. That's about all I could do. I mean, But they keep pushing the dates back now. So the U.S. has just pushed their the U.S. has just pushed the no contact date, like the separation date. Sheldon, what date did it? April 30th, I think, right?
Yeah, it was April the 30th, I believe. Yeah.
Ah. Right, and I've been reading that teachers are saying, well, they're not paying us to do this. Why should we do this? I mean, yeah, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Yeah. The school board shut her down. Why would they do that? That is so weird. I mean, a teacher was reaching out and trying to do something, and the school board shut them down. That's strange.
I don't even know if the school board even knows what the heck they're doing.
I don't understand it. That's all we could do. We can't do more than that.
And this will end eventually.
You think?
Well, it will.
I'm hoping it will.
Well, it's going to end, and then they may have a second volley. By that time, they'll have an antivirus, and then we'll be done.
Yeah. For those of you watching on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, you didn't hear the caller for half the call. There was a problem with the phone system. That's why it took me a while to get to you, and that's why Randy didn't hear that he was picked up. I fixed the problem. See, this is the problem with using the equipment once a week, right?
Yeah.
Next show is going to be even more interesting. I'm taking the whole studio apart after the show.
Uh-oh.
So next
really?
show will be even more interesting.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well, I
there
wish you
go.
good luck on your show, and I would try to call in more often.
Thank you. I appreciate your call, Randy, and we'll see you.
Take care, Randy.
We'll see you
Be
as soon
well,
as we
eh?
can. Right?
That's right, we will.
All right. Take care, man.
Take care. Bye.
Good luck. Bye. 1-877-669-1292 is the number to call. 1-877-669-1292. Listen, I have a couple of people who are messaging saying, "Hey, why don't guess, give facts?" Because I said I guessed that the IGA closed because of the Corona testing center behind it. Hey, look, the facts are few and far between here. It's only speculation. We can't give facts on stuff like that because we don't know. They could have been overwhelmed.
Also, Côte Saint Luc was designed, or not designed.
Designated.
Destined for because they got a huge outbreak of the COVID-19, especially around the Cavendish Mall area, and not only because of the testing site in the back. Actually, I believe it's near the René Cassin CLSC, which is in the rear part of the parking lot. But I also think that because a lot of people have come back, a lot of the snowbirds have come back. And Mitchell Brownstein was, I'm glad that the Quebec government acted as fast as they did to put a mobile testing facility in the back of the Cavendish Mall. But also, my girlfriend went to get some groceries there. And at that time, when she went into the IGA, if there were 20 people total inside the grocery store, it was a lot of people. There was a security guard outside in the doorway.
Yeah.
And they were sanitizing all the carts. There were definitely symbols on the floor of where you should stand, as opposed to the person in front or behind you.
Well, look, Sheldon, Randy just said that he was there this morning.
Okay.
Before they closed it, and they didn't have enough cashiers.
Yeah, at that time when my girlfriend went, there were, but they didn't have that problem. But I think now, because of what happened plus the testing site, I can see why they're closing, and I think it's going to draw a lot of people to their Côte Saint Luc shopping center, the other IGA, and who knows how long that's going to stay open, because it's a big pipeline. Like you said, it's very hard for the people to go and work for the grocery stores because people are frightened, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, if you watch CNN only, you'll be scared out of your mind.
Yeah, well, I'm not watching CNN now, but I'll tell you, it's obviously it's a very scary situation. Now, here's another situation too. I was speaking with my cousin from Tennessee the other day, originally from New York, and his daughter lives at Bayside, Queens, New York, and she was telling me that their mayor, Bloomberg, has still kept.
Bloomberg's not mayor of New York.
What's the mayor of New York?
De Blasio, Bill de Blasio.
Oh, Bill. Okay, sorry, Bill Blasio. Sorry. Apparently, I stand corrected, and I'm sorry. Apparently, he still kept Central Park opened.
Really?
And I'm wondering. I said, on a given day, without this whole coronavirus, and I've been to Central Park many times. I'm sure you have too. On a given day, it has thousands of people there. I'm not even talking about concerts in Central Park. I'm talking about gatherings of people in Central Park. And if they're still keeping the park open, and again, I don't care what their political affiliation is. I don't care. You know what? These public places have to be closed for right now. They cannot. Even the governor in Florida at one point, when people were off work, were off school, he still kept the beaches open in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. He only closed them about a week ago.
Yeah. Also in Vancouver, the beaches were open in Vancouver and people were gathering, having parties on the beach. Now, this is the thing. For the exception of the odd time my girlfriend coming to my house and it's just she and I taking walks and we're distancing ourselves from one another, other than that, I've been taking walks by myself. There's hardly anybody around. And if there is anybody that comes in close contact, we step away from each other. So most people are listening to what the government and health officials are saying. But for the people that are not listening, please, for the love of God, keep yourself safe, keep your friends and family safe, and listen to government authorities, health authorities, and the media. Forget about partisan politics. We're all in this together, regardless of where we live, regardless of what our affiliations are and what our political ideologies may be. This is about us being safe. And at the end of the day, when you get up in the morning, you want you and your family to be safe.
Now you were sick, not just last week. I
Yeah.
spoke to you. You were barely able to talk.
Yeah.
Were you afraid that you had corona?
No, because what happened was, and for people that are listening to me, what happened was after I got back from Aruba, which was Sunday, March the 8th, I resumed my employment training course that I take. And I went back on the 9th on Monday. And then on the 12th, on the Thursday, I was walking out of the training course out of the building. And where the exit was, I walked into a group of 4 people smoking. They were right at the exit. Like as soon as I opened up the door, I couldn't get away from anywhere because I didn't see them until right when I opened up the door, and I walked right into it. And as I was walking to the metro station, which was about 2 blocks away, I started coughing, and I knew right away I was in trouble. So I came home. Thankfully, I had my Ventolin, my air puffers that I always keep on me all the time. But my voice started getting shot the next day. On the 13th of March, I called in sick because I couldn't go in. I hardly had a voice. So people started panicking in my group because, I was fine on Thursday. And then I told the teacher, and the teacher said I was not here on Friday, that I was sick.
Right.
And people thought right away I got the coronavirus. Now, I know my asthma, and when I get it, I don't get it very often. When I do, it really knocks me for a loop. I had the same symptoms. I did not have a fever. I did not have a sore throat. The only thing I did have was a cough, but that's part and parcel when you have an asthma attack, plus loss of my voice. And that's what I had. And I was right away, I went into isolation, didn't even think twice about it. This was even before the government said 2-week voluntary self-isolation. I did it anyway because I didn't want people to start panicking. And if I come in contact with any smokers at that time, because I was in such a vulnerable state, I would have probably wound up being in the hospital.
Right. All right.
So I said, you know what? I'm staying home. And my building's a non-smoking building. I'm staying in my apartment. And I would open up the window in my apartment to get a little bit of fresh air, as I do every day.
Good.
And that's what and then basically I was staying home for almost 2 weeks.
Well, you're sounding good. You're sounding good now, Sheldon.
I'm feeling better, but I still have a bit of a cough, and I have my Kleenex and water right next to me. And there are times I have to mute the mic for that reason. I'm feeling better, but it takes a while until I get the coughing out of the system.
All right.
And it's still a bit but right away, my kids were very concerned. My mother was very concerned.
I was very concerned.
But I thank you. But I knew right away because I know my symptoms I even called the hotline, the coronavirus hotline, not to be confused with 911 or Info Santé.
Yeah.
Because the new line, it took me a while to get through, but once I did, they asked me the symptoms and they said, no, unless you have a fever, unless you have a sore throat and and the other symptoms that they mentioned at the time, stay home and rest.
That's it.
And that's what I did. And I'm feeling better. I never had a fever. I never had a sore throat.
Good.
And I've been drinking a lot of tea. I've been drinking more tea now every day than I've ever done in my life.
So you didn't get checked for corona only because they told you not to. You can't get checked for corona just by walking into a place.
No.
Well,
that's the thing. Yeah, but that's what people seem to think. So people think, oh, right away I should get myself checked out. But if you don't have the symptoms, it's not going to appear anything on the test anyway.
But they're not going to check you anyway. They're going to say,
they won't check you. Yeah, because otherwise, as it is, there's thousands of people that are being checked that already have the symptoms, and we're told because when you call that hotline, if I had the symptoms, then they would say, okay, because the Jewish General Hospital, which is not far from where I live, was one of the hospitals at that time, was one of the original hospitals that was treating for the coronavirus.
Right, but they still are.
They still are, but they added more hospitals because they're absolutely overwhelmed, as we could understand. So they added more hospitals. I think now they have 11 hospitals that are now doing that, where before it was 4 hospitals, the Jewish General being one of them here in this area. And they said if I would have had the symptoms, they would have given me an appointment. And what they told me what they would do is they notify the hospital. So when you come in, you give your name, they take you right away, and I guess they put you into a room or they put you into a certain area. I don't know, because I didn't have the symptoms, so I never went.
Right.
So they told me, stay at home, do whatever. And the building was where I live, and you know where I live.
Yep.
They've been very prudent. They've been putting hand sanitizers in. They closed the recreation room downstairs. They've been extremely vigilant in protecting they're protecting their tenants. We're getting Passover meals delivered directly to us.
Amazing.
And I usually get a delivery anyway, a Friday night's Shabbat supper. I usually get it Thursday night from Mata. I get it now during Thursday afternoon. And Passover, last year, there was a certain area downstairs that we had to pick it up in our building. Now they're saying because the room is closed, that do not go downstairs. And they put in big block letters. They said, we will bring each and every one of you in the building a Passover meal. We will leave it at your door. Do not come downstairs.
Amazing. So that they're taking care of you. That's amazing.
They've been absolutely wonderful. Like I've been like ever since I moved in January of 2019. They've been absolutely incredible, wonderful people, and they've been amazing. They've been taking care of everyone. People are respecting the social distancing here in the building and physical distancing.
That's important.
Yeah, and that's what it's really important. I know in the King David residence in Côte Saint Luc, there were some people that were tested positive for the coronavirus. I don't know what the numbers are now, and this was another very scary thing. So far in this building, for what I know right now, nobody has tested positive for the COVID-19.
Thank God.
Yeah,
1-877-669-1292 is the number to call. 1-877-669-1292. How are you holding up during this self-isolation? I've been doing a lot of radio shows. What have you been doing? 1-877-669-1292. Actually, I had a bunch of projects I had to do for school, so I caught up on all the schoolwork that I was behind on, which is great. But now what, right?
You know what? It's funny. We take it for granted, eh? Like we always never seem to have enough time. You know, when we're home, it's like we're rushing, and then we try to take whatever it is and try to soak in a weekend or whatever. And now it's like, because we're hardly going out. You know, we have to do things. We try to do things and make ourselves very busy. I mean, I couldn't do a radio show last Wednesday not last Wednesday, the Wednesday before, for the other show.
Yeah.
Because again, my voice was shot. So last Wednesday I came back, and tonight I'm coming back, and but I was also putting together. There's a new PSA that went out. The old Beatles rendition, "I Want to Hold Your Hand," is "Wash Your Hands."
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so that's going viral. Neil Diamond's "Sweet Caroline" went viral.
Did you see him singing? It was him singing it.
It was him singing. Yeah. There was
he had a fireside chat. I saw him. I watched it live. He had a fireside chat. Yeah. Where he sang a bunch of songs, and he changed "Sweet Caroline" to whatever it was, something about washing your hands.
But I think he has. I think he had, what is it, Parkinson's that he has or something? He has something.
Yeah, his voice isn't so great anymore.
Yeah, and he had his dog there, I remember, for people who didn't see the video. And it's nice that a lot of these performers are streaming online just to keep us entertained as much as we could possibly do.
It's even nicer that one of the recording industries, the union for the recording industry, has decided they're paying for people they're paying the performers who perform online, so they're actually getting paid for it.
That's really nice. That's a real
which
mensch.
Is nice.
That's,
I mean,
very, very, very nice.
People should be paid for their talents.
Absolutely, I always agreed with that. No question about it.
Me too.
It is a talent, and it's really amazing. And I think when it comes to this,
it's been 28 years I've been doing this show. 27 years.
My God,
I've been doing this show for 27 years. I've never been paid for it. Never.
Yeah, but you know what? It's always appreciated. You've always opened up people's minds, heart, and soul.
Yeah,
you're a wonderful Samaritan that really cares about people in the Jewish community, and very passionate about your views. And you do a tremendous service to the Jewish community around the world, the Jewish communities around the world. And we're very fortunate to have you. And you're always been a very close and dear friend of mine. We joke around a lot of things, but when push comes to shove, you really gave me the opportunity after I was let go from Bell, and to I've always appreciated everything you've done and the closeness that you and I've shared, the many jokes that you and I have shared. As a matter of fact, I spoke to a mutual friend. I don't remember if you know him or not, but I think you heard of him, Rob Reeford.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So I spoke to him because I wished him a happy birthday, and we were on the phone for an hour today. He called me to reach out to see
Nice.
how things were doing, and just stuff, and we were just reminiscing on radio stories, and then I was thinking about you after I got off the phone with him. And I was saying, oh my God, if I was to be in contact with everybody that's been a pillar in the local radio community, oh my God, we would have so many books online or in the
Seriously.
records or in the stores, the bookstores. It would be incredible.
Seriously. By the way, if you think that you have the corona, see, my nephew started calling it the corona.
Okay, Corona.
So if you think you have the corona, what number do you call, Sheldon? What's the emergency number?
Oh, I don't have it on me now, but it's very easy enough. If you go into the Quebec government website, it will definitely have the number. I'll have to look that up online.
It's not 811 anymore. That number was
No. That's one thing right away. Do not call 811 because if you do, first of all, you're really going to tax the system. And the thing is, the number to call is a special number just for the coronavirus.
Yeah, do you remember what the number was? I don't have it.
I'm just looking it up now.
All right.
And I will give that right now. Let me see here as I'm okay. Yeah, here. Let me see here. Hang on.
All right, we're hanging on. We're hanging on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the number. So it says if you're worried about the COVID-19, this is only in this region. And that's what I had to call. The number is toll-free 1-877-644-4545. Again, it's toll-free. The number is 1-877-644-4545. Please do not call 811 and only call 911 if it's an emergency and you require immediate assistance via ambulance or anything like that. Do not call 911 and ask if you got certain symptoms of the coronavirus. They're stressing, and it's also saying for people, do not go to a medical clinic until you first obtained an appointment. Now, when you call this number, if you do have the symptoms, they will give you an appointment. They will tell you which hospital to go to. When you arrive at the hospital, you give your name. You will be taken to a room, and you will be waiting to see a doctor, and then you will get the proper testing for the coronavirus. Do not go by yourself to a hospital unless otherwise advised by calling again the toll-free number of 1-877-644-4545.
I think I had corona in December.
Oh.
Remember?
Why would you?
Remember I was sick in December. I took 4 weeks off on the show. At the end of November, beginning of December.
I remember that, but
and I ended up in the hospital. I had fever. I had a scratchy throat. I had chest pains.
Well, I don't believe the chest pains is one of the symptoms.
It is one of the symptoms, yes.
Maybe it is one of the symptoms. Okay, because I know I did not have chest pains when I had the asthma. That I know for a fact.
Right.
Because I called this number almost 2 weeks ago because I've had this thing for 2 weeks. So I don't remember exactly what my whole conversation was, but after I told them, because they asked me questions, did I have this? Did I have this? And what did I have? And they said, no, do not worry about it. And the person was very professional. They were not rushing me. And they were just saying, no, you do not have the virus. You have your asthma. You're familiar with your symptoms.
Right.
They did tell me that if I do have a fever, if I do have the other symptoms that was mentioned, call back this number again. Do not go to the hospital do not go to the hospital on my own. Call the number. We will give you an appointment.
Yeah, I was rushed to the hospital by ambulance.
Oh, boy.
And they kept me there, and they couldn't diagnose it at the time.
But the thing is, you're better now, so obviously your immune system was strong enough that if you did have it,
right, it's gone.
You're one of the statistics if you did have it, because
I wouldn't be part of the statistics.
No, you won't be part of the statistics. Yeah, because it was before the testing and everything else.
It was before the pandemic.
Yeah, and the thing is too, if you take a look at in our province of Quebec and province of Ontario, the March breaks are not at the same time. Now, my girlfriend is a teacher, and her March break was that week that we went to Aruba. So when we came back again, there were still many snowbirds that were still away because the snowbirds go away for 5-6 months.
Yeah.
So now this is what the problem was, because the Côte Saint Luc has the greatest number of snowbirds
In North America.
in either one of the it's probably one of the top 5 or top 10 in North America. Probably also North York and Toronto also.
Yeah.
That's where all of a sudden things started spiking.
Yeah,
Plus
but
the way they're doing
the
the testing now and the statistics, that's why you're seeing a soar of.
But you know what really gets my goat, and it's got my goat for a week already.
What's that?
So the snowbirds have been running around, and when they started coming back in the middle of I don't know, when did they come back? In the middle of March, right at the beginning of March, somewhere around the second week of March.
The snowbirds?
Yeah.
Probably the middle of March, I think.
Okay, so the second week of March,
Yeah.
people started walking around, and then people started complaining online. I was watching online as people were complaining, hey, somebody should stop these snowbirds. They're walking around. They could be spreading this virus everywhere, because Florida, I mean, right?
Right.
And so then people started arguing, well, you shouldn't pick on the snowbirds. They're old people. They don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly all the talk about the snowbirds stopped, and then they just started talking about religious people and how bad religious people are, and how religious people are spreading this around, and minyanim, and they just started talking about Jewish religious people, and just started, crapping on them. And I was like, whoa, 1 second. What's that? You need a scapegoat? Really? In this pandemic, we need a scapegoat? We need to point fingers?
You know what? It's all about.
It's terrible.
It's all about anybody, no matter what religion, no matter what race, no matter what language or whatever. The thing is that, and this is what government officials are saying, it's the question of staying home and staying away from a lot of people. So, I'm not pointing fingers.
Yeah, so I don't
at
want the
anybody.
government. I don't want the government putting armed guards in our hallways.
Well, God,
I don't want the government sending the army in,
either.
okay?
I don't want it either.
So people have to understand that if we do this voluntarily, the government doesn't have to send in the army.
Thank you.
But they will send in the army if we don't do it voluntarily.
Well, that's it, because people have to listen. And the thing is, if everybody's at home, even if you have the virus for the 2 weeks, because that's what they're saying. They're saying that if you self-quarantine yourself for 2 weeks, because that's what they say, that the virus usually will last, or have the worst
14
effects.
days.
Yeah, 14 days.
Yeah.
So the thing is that if you're listening, and that's what I was doing for 2 weeks, I was in my house. I did not go out. Period. I did not even go to check the mail. I stayed at home inside my apartment for 2 weeks.
Which is what you should have been doing.
Yeah, and that's what I did. And then I started going for walks by myself. I was not near anybody. Okay, great. And as soon as I saw somebody, I ducked. I didn't go into a shopping center. I haven't gone into any public places where there were a lot of people. As soon as I saw there were 3 people or a few people walking my direction, I would cut away. I would go across the street. I maintained, because you know what? I cared about my safety. And I know I did not have the coronavirus. I did not want to take a chance that if I was a carrier, or if anybody was a carrier, or anybody had the coronavirus, I was protecting myself.
Sheldon, I've been home pretty much nonstop for the last couple of weeks. Yeah. I've gone out maybe 3 times to do some essential shopping, but other than that, I haven't left the house. Right?
That's different when you do essential shopping, because because you know what it is to get online groceries.
It's impossible. So
I made an order last week. How you know when my order is coming?
Next week,
April the 4th.
Next week.
Yeah. I spoke to my cousin, New York City. They're now getting orders in the beginning of May. There's no delivery until. If you're ordering now, you're not going to get your order until the beginning of May.
So I went out to do some essential shopping, and that was it, right? Mm-hmm. Now I'm a relatively healthy guy. I have not had exposure to anybody. I have not had any symptoms. I'm pretty much okay, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go to a supermarket tomorrow. I'm not, I need food. I'm not going to order from a supermarket. I can't order from a supermarket. I'll order from restaurants for the rest of the week until Passover. So whatever it costs, it costs. I have no choice. But there's
Right.
no way I'm going into a supermarket or no way I'm going into any of these public places. I'm going to stay home because I want to stay healthy. Simple as
Yep.
that.
I agree with you.
Because,
And I've been staying away from the market from the supermarket too.
and
My
you know,
girlfriend has gone, put it into a wagon. I took it upstairs because
Yeah.
their carriage is here, but I washed down the carriage. She washed down the carriage, put it into the carriage, put it in the elevator. Told me to call for the elevator. She put it into the elevator. I took the wagon, brought the order into my house, unloaded it, put the carriage in the elevator, brought it downstairs, and my girlfriend took it and put it where the other carriages were.
that's it.
That's exactly what I did.
So-
I have not seen my girlfriend until a few days ago when I said hello from the balcony.
There you go.
And it's like, it's very hard. I haven't seen my kids in weeks. I speak to them on a regular basis. I speak to my mother on a regular basis. She's 92 years old, Kinahor. She's in great health.
Amazing. Thank God.
Yeah, and I was worried about her, and she was worried because in the case of my asthma, but I kept reassuring her I'm fine. And when I was in Aruba, I kept assuring her I was fine. There was no problem. So I mean, and the thing is, you know what? When all this is said and done, if there's another positive thing in this whole thing, and we try to look on the positive side, people are checking in with one another. People are checking in more than they ever did with family. They're calling each other every day. I mean, I speak to my mother on a regular basis at least once a day. I now check in with her twice a day. I speak to my sister in Ottawa once a day. I speak to my brother and sister-in-law once a day. My brother's doing his work online.
It's good.
And unless he has to operate on an emergency basis, all elective surgery has been canceled. His operating time is on Tuesdays. For the last 2 weeks, there has not been any emergency surgery, thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
And he's been doing all video conferencing, everything from the confines of his own home.
Yeah, well, that's the way it has to be for now. Sheldon, did you feel an earthquake last night?
No.
3:30 in the morning, there was an earthquake.
I thought actually, I thought I felt like a bit of a shake, but like I wasn't sure what it was. And I just went right back to sleep. And then I heard that there was an earthquake. So maybe I felt something.
I was up at 3:30 in the morning. I wasn't sleeping. And I did not feel an earthquake at all.
I just felt like a very quick, like a little bit of like, it's almost like if a bus were to come by or a truck were to go by, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel anything like an earthquake. I just felt like but I went right back to sleep, but I thought it was nothing. And then I checked
But apparently it was a pretty powerful earthquake.
Well, it was 3.1, I think what I heard. It was centered around the Mascouche area, which is north of Montreal. And I get these alerts through Ontario and Quebec. I get these alerts, and it was marked that there was an earthquake. But they said at that time, I believe, was 3.1 or 3.6. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
It was definitely under 4. There was no damages.
Yeah, but I normally I would feel them. I felt the earthquakes before.
Yeah, I felt
but this one
earthquakes
here, I didn't
before
feel
too,
it
but-
all. I was awake, and I didn't feel it at all.
And I think also,
I'm usually, by the way, Sheldon, I'm usually awake at 3:30 in the morning.
okay.
It's a normal thing for me.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah.
I know when I was away in Aruba with Alina, I know one of my kids was saying that there was a small earthquake, like a small little thing in Montreal.
Yeah.
But again, no damage. I forget what the date was. It was a few days before my girlfriend and I got back from Aruba. So.
Yeah, well, Montreal's on a fault line, so earthquakes are not unexpected here.
Well, apparently, I know where the Olympic Stadium is. They built it, yes, on a fault line.
Of course.
And the thing was, it's not like the San Andreas fault in California, and that's a very big, prominent fault line, and that's why they always were scared that California would get, quote, the big one.
Well, they've gotten the big one a few times.
Well, they had one in San Francisco, I remember, during a World Series game.
Yeah, Candlestick Park fell apart, remember?
Yeah, and the Golden Gate, no, not the Golden Gate Bridge, the Bay Bridge had a lot of damage.
Yeah, I remember that.
And, and I remember there was one fairly, not a lot of damage in Montreal, but I remember there was one time I really did feel like the ground was shaking in Montreal. But there was no damage, but I really felt it. Like I really felt it wasn't like a question of a truck passing,
right?
But it was a question of
the earth is shaking.
Yeah, exactly. And then I remember seeing videos of a television station in San Francisco, and there was a newscast going on or something, and all of a sudden you saw the camera shaking, and you saw and they were saying, "Oh, we're feeling an earthquake,"
Didn't
and
you see the set falling? The set fell
yeah,
during
exactly.
that
And
one.
I,
Yeah.
and I remember that. But yeah, we are on a fault line here in Montreal. And I remember another thing too. Originally, my girlfriend and I were supposed to go to Jamaica, and we changed it to Aruba because of a couple of things. Actually, before we went to Jamaica, we were thinking of going to Jamaica. They suffered an earthquake, and they had a fairly extensive damage. Like it wasn't like, let's say, a tornado hitting Nassau or anything like that. Not that type of a damage, but there were some places that were damaged in Jamaica. And then we changed it anyway because of the crime that was going up in Jamaica. So we changed it from Jamaica to Aruba.
All right,
And
so Sheldon, I just have to stop you for a sec.
Yep.
We got a question. Can you explain what the negative count in Montreal is? We don't have that here. Is it people? Are there people who have recovered? So that's the question we have. And okay, so the latest information, is this the latest information? Today is the 29th, right? So I have from yesterday.
Okay.
So yesterday's information was that there were 2,498 cases in Quebec on Saturday. It's an increase of 477 since Friday, and the number of deaths has climbed from 4 to 22. The Quebec government announced that there is 164 hospitalizations, an increase of 23, includes 57 people in intensive care. The number of negative test results, that was the question, how many negative test results there were, climbed to 43,589. And there are currently 6,757 cases under investigation, so that number could have gone up a little bit today. I don't have today's numbers, but that number could have gone up a little bit today. The number of confirmed cases of the virus in Montreal is at 1,219 as of Saturday. So the Quebec Public Health Director confirmed that none of the 22 deaths in Quebec were that of people under 60 years old, specifying that most victims were between the ages of 80 and 89, and 2 were over 90. Yeah, so it's basically older people who are dying and people with immune problems, people with underlying immune problems.
Yeah, and
that are dying
also sometimes babies could be affected because their immune system is not 100%. As they're slowly growing and at a very, very infantile stage, their immune system is not at its peak yet.
Yeah.
So that you got to be careful. So if you do have a baby, if once your child is 6, 7, 8 years old, the immune system is going to be pretty much at full throttle. You'll be okay, but it's just the baby, especially if you're nursing the baby, and you're always in close contact with the baby. You got to be extremely careful.
Yeah, so there's a lot of misinformation going around, and the best thing to do is to check with your local health authorities. They have the latest in information. Yeah. It's time to check with them. They'll have the latest information, the numbers and everything else. Check with your local health authorities. And if you feel sick, you dial that 800 number. Sheldon, you still have that 800 number?
Yep, it is. As I'm just getting it now. Yeah, it's 1-877-644-4545 toll free.
Right. So you dial that number, and if you feel that you have symptoms, you describe your symptoms to the nurse at the other end, and the nurse will give you an appointment to go and get tested.
Yeah.
That's the way it's working.
Yeah, exactly. If you're in the Montreal area, you could dial this number, 514-644-4545. But anywhere else other in the province, toll free 1-877-644-4545. Again, let me reiterate to people, if you think you have the symptoms, call that number. Do not proceed to a hospital. Call that number. If they believe and they think you have the symptoms, they will give you an appointment. They will tell you where to go. They will let the hospital or center know your name, and when you get there, you give them your name. You will then be taken to a room, and you will be tested for the coronavirus. Do not call 811. Do not call 911 unless you require ambulatory services or any emergency medical services.
So I read an article the other day about in the States. So in Canada, at least in Quebec, the health minister says that the average age of people dying from the disease are between 80 and 90. In the States, it's a totally different story. A lot of party going March breakers have the disease, and the numbers are a lot lower in the states. And in the Middle East, the high numbers are between ages 30 and 50. So I mean,
Oh my.
it's a pretty nasty disease. It's not something you want to play with.
What's the story in Israel? Do you have any statistics in Israel that's like how
Well, like I
has
said,
Israel been able to cope with it? And
Well, Israel, everyone's on total lockdown.
okay,
The whole country's on total lockdown. Nobody's allowed going anywhere.
what's their stats? Are they what's the fatalities and how many people recuperated?
I don't have those numbers, but
Okay.
but I know that the entire country's on lockdown.
Yeah, and
which
I
is the
think
way
you
it should
have to
be.
and I think that the schools themselves here locally, because I know my girlfriend who teaches English as a second language in a French school, her school is closed till May 1st. There was, I received information from the administrator of the training center. They were thinking of opening up right after Easter on the 14th of April, and I don't see that happening. And if the government is still ordering the schools to be closed down, and even though it's funded by,
I am fairly sure, Sheldon, that the schools will be closed till the end of the year.
yeah, well,
I
even
can't
my
imagine
teachers-
they're going to reopen the schools.
Yeah, it's really because the thing is, even if it's slowly starting, the curve is slowly starting to slow down in terms of the amount of fatalities, whatever. We still have to keep ourselves protected for the stats to start going down, and it's going to take time.
That's right.
And the thing is, it's all about people, and this is one of the things.
If they can't open the schools, by the beginning of May,
Yeah.
then there's no point in opening the schools at the beginning of June.
Oh no, because well, first of all,
It's 20 days until the end of school.
yeah, first of all, there's not going to be any ministry exams for the secondary 4, secondary 5 locally.
Okay, but that's totally irrelevant. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody's going back to school anytime in the near future.
I can't see it myself. I mean, I think if anything at all, when do you think? Just give a guess. This is not it's not a science, and I'm not saying this
I have no inside information on this at all.
Yeah, because
nobody
just
knows.
guessing. If at anything at all, at the earliest, I don't see this really starting to get better till almost near the end of the year.
So my administration of my school, the school I work in, said that we're going to be closed until everybody else opens, right? So so that what does that mean? That means that that at least until after Passover, they're not going to open before Passover. And then after Passover, if they're allowed to open, they'll open. If not, then we're closed for the rest of the year. That's what it is.
Do you really see them opening up after Passover?
No,
I can't see it.
I don't see it happening.
It's not. There's still cases that are there's still cases that are coming in. Even if there's no fatalities today, they're still getting people that are being tested positive for the COVID-19.
Yeah. Is there an emergency plan there if your hospitals will fill to capacity? Is there a plan for other facilities? Yes. There's numerous hospitals, numerous places that they're prepping right now in case the hospitals get overloaded. So yes,
they're going to. Apparently, our premier was saying there's an extra 6,000 beds right now. I don't know if that's. I guess that's across the entire province. I don't know what it is in Montreal. But again, the Jewish General, to reiterate what I said earlier in the beginning.
Yeah, but Jewish General is only one facility, but there's four other facilities that are ready to take on patients.
Yeah, but the thing was now I think it's to 11 facilities that are now total of taking patients, and everything is being reevaluated, I guess, day by day.
Yeah, of course.
But I think really the message I want to get across to everybody:
stay home. That's the message.
Stay home.
Stay home.
Stay home, or take a walk, which is fine. Take a walk by yourself, or if you're going to go with one other person, keep your distance between that and the other person, and stay away from a lot of people. Don't go into gatherings, and I can tell you, walking on my neighborhood streets, I was seeing buses passing by. If there were 6 people in the buses, that was a lot. I'm 1 block away from a metro station. I hardly saw anybody coming out. Never mind going in. They have it's cordoned off on the back of where the bus driver is. The seat behind the bus driver is now cordoned off. You cannot sit behind the seat behind the bus driver. You are now able, you can only go in and go out to the back. You cannot go in or out towards the front. And they've cut back public transit systems all over the place. I know they cut back New York. They scaled it back to 20 to 25% of total amount of
Yeah, but
total
nobody should be taking the
capacity.
bus now anyway. Everyone should be staying home.
Yeah.
So don't take
So
the
I-
bus. Don't take the bus. Don't care
Yeah.
what the buses are doing. Stay home.
Yeah, exactly. You know what?
Let the buses run empty. Stay home.
That's the only way, honestly, if we're going to get through this, and I know we're going to get through this. It's all important, and if I have to emphasize this enough, please listen to all your government authorities,
And your rabbis.
the rabbis,
Listen to everybody.
anybody at health officials. Listen to the media. Go on the different, proper websites. Don't go onto these fake news stuff. Go onto your trusted news sources. Please listen. Please stay home. Please stay safe. At the end of the day, it's about all of us living in this world. And you know what? Our enemies are not other people around the world. Our enemies are these viruses that are taking innocent people's lives. Listen to people and respect your distances, both physically and socially.
All right, Sheldon, we're all out of time.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being here on the show. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
I want to thank everybody who listened.
Stay safe, my friend. I know we speak to each other during the week. Stay safe. Your mother's been back from Florida for a while.
Yes, she has. Yep.
Yeah,
She's been self-isolating.
okay. Okay. Well, I want to wish your mother, your family, to take care of yourselves. And I know, like, for the first time in my life, I'm going to be home alone for the Seder.
Yeah.
But I wish, and I know these are very trying times, because Seder has always been about family being together, and really rejoicing and being thankful and everything, and celebrating, celebrating with family and celebrating the love with family. And this is going to be a very difficult Seder for everybody. But I think the best present you can give your family, friends, and loved ones is to stay home.
And I agree with you. I think everyone should stay home. Everybody should just chill out and let's hope that that this passes quick.
Yeah, and leave your political views. Everybody, leave your political views. On the wayside. You'll do it after, when everybody's healthy and everybody's back to normal. But please respect all government directives. And thank God our governments have been doing as best job that they can possibly do in a very, very difficult situation.
All right, and I'll be back on probably over the course of the week. We'll be on again. Until then, in Israel, I just got the statistics. There are 5,006 and 15 dead.
Oy.
Numbers are going up fast. All right, thank you for that information. All right, we're gonna go. We'll be back on again. I don't know about tomorrow, but maybe on Tuesday. We'll see you then. I'm Howie Silbiger.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe, eh?
I'm Howie Silbiger. He's Sheldon Freed. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again next show. Thank you. And don't forget, stay home. Don't go out. Stay home.